Ilia Topuria says, I'd like to move to the next weight class, and since Islam is fighting in January and he won't be ready for April or May, I'd like to fight against the #1 contender, who is Charles Oliveira. So my question to you is this: are you okay with the featherweight champion moving up? And how do you think he fights Charles Oliveira? Do you think he can beat Charles Oliveira? Me personally, I do. I think he does beat Charles Oliveira. I think he knocks him out. Charles Oliveira gets rocked in every single one of his fights. And I think Ilia Topuria has power in both hands, and he's got the boxing ability to hurt Charles Oliveira, backed up with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, to where he's not going to be afraid to dive in to Charles Oliveira's guard when he does hurt Charles Oliveira. You know, that's the one critical mistake that Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Michael Chandler all made when fighting Charles Oliveira, and that's when you hurt him, you give him time to recover because you are so hesitant and fearful of his jiu-jitsu. You cannot be hesitant and fearful of his jiu-jitsu. You have to meet him head on. Look at Islam Makhachev and look at Arman Tsarukyan. Both of them did that, and both of them had success because they weren't afraid. They believed in themselves. They believed in their own grappling ability, and they beat Charles Oliveira. Now for Ilia Topuria, I think he's going to hurt Charles Oliveira on the feet, follow him up to the ground, and TKO him. That's how I see the fight going. And as for whether or not I think he should move up to lightweight, I actually have no issue with this. The only condition that I do have is that he vacates the featherweight title. He must vacate the featherweight title because he owes it as a champion to keep the division moving and keep the contender queue going. You know what I'm saying? Next after next after next after next. That's the job of a champion, and I don't think he can do that if he's now balancing fights at the highest level in the lightweight division. Plus, you also run the risk of doing what Volkanovski did and what others have done. You know, it's happened before where guys have tried to move up and they failed. But what happens is you have a champion who looks so dominant, and then he goes up and he gets head kicked by Makhachev, Volkanovski, and now he's weaker, right? He's perceived as a weaker champion, and it waters down the featherweight championship. The featherweight guy now looks weaker compared to the lightweight guy, and it shouldn't be that way. They should all be able to stand on their own, and typically they do up until they try to test their waters up a weight class. So I don't like that. I don't like the idea of weakening the image of the champion by having him move up and fail and then have to come back down. You don't want to do that. So keep them strong and keep them in their division. However, Topuria has beaten Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. That's two of the greatest featherweights of all time, and someone would argue, hey, there's not really much there for him. I would disagree in that. I see your point, and I could see the argument that he has nothing left to prove, but that doesn't mean that someone can't emerge, right? I mean, nobody saw Ilia Topuria coming until he did. Nobody sees you coming until you come, you know? Pause. But it is, I had to pause that one. Usually I don't say pause, but that one was crazy. That one was crazy. So yeah, I'm not with it. I think he needs to vacate the title at lightweight and then try his hand at or vacate the title at featherweight rather, excuse me, and then move up to lightweight and see what he could do. But you let me know what you think in the comment section below, whether you agree with me, disagree with me. It does not matter. Just join the discussion, follow for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.